But it wasn't sincere because she's had a long history of saying woke, annoying things. Our new Snow White.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
Rachel Zegler is in full meltdown mode after her Evita scam exposed her as the queen of bad PR, where fans who paid got stuck watching a screen while random people outside enjoyed the real show. Add 5 years of box office flops, a $50 per screen Snow White disaster, and ego-filled interviews comparing herself to ancient art. This is beyond pathetic.
Headline after headline demonstrating the horrible reputation that she has made for herself because she just can't seem to keep her own thoughts in her brain.
Let's talk about the greatest scam to hit the London theater scene since tourists paid to see Cats. Picture this. You're sitting inside the historic London Palladium, ticket in hand, having forked over around £500, that's half a grand, for a live performance of Evita starring none other than Rachel Zegler. You're expecting lights, drama, a real performance, maybe even a decent note or two. But what do you get? A jumbo screen? Yes, a giant glorified LED TV. Because Rachel, instead of gracing the stage like a normal paid performer, decides to climb a balcony like a singing Rapunzel and belt "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" to people outside, for free.
You had paying customers were waiting to see her on stage, and she took off and headed to a balcony where she could belt out Evita's hit song "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" live, for free, to strangers on the street.
So now the street gets the live vocals for £0, 0 shillings, 0 anything, while you, inside the building with the receipt and the credit card debt, get a screen, a live stream. You could have watched that on TikTok from your couch, and you wouldn't have been down $500 and a bottle of overpriced theater wine. People were so angry, they were screaming "refund" in 4 languages. 4. The people outside probably thought there was a hostage situation happening inside. Nope. Just Rachel Zegler giving a masterclass in bait-and-switch PR disasters.
Snow White, the film that bombed so hard that it only brought in $50 a screen over Mother's Day weekend, is now somehow the #1 streaming hit on Disney+. And before you ask, you're going to say, how did this happen?
And this isn't even shocking anymore. This is just the latest exhibit in Rachel's museum of self-inflicted chaos. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if she launched her own theme park called Zeglerland, where you pay to get punked.
So in the end, it's really not about talent. It's about watching someone who thought they were above it all finally get humbled. And as far as Hollywood drama goes, this is the sort that not a lot of people can look away from.
Let's zoom out a bit, shall we? This girl's been in the business for what, 5 years? Not 10? Not 20? Just 5? And in those 5 short years, she's managed to pull off something truly impressive. Complete career sabotage. She's been called box office poison before she even became box office. That's not even an insult. That's a record. 5 film flops in a row. Let me repeat that. 5 in a row. It's like she's allergic to success.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean? As in the films that you act in? Like the one that failed at the box office a couple months later, spectacularly? Is that the business you mean?
And not just flops. We're talking about torching almost $1 billion of studio cash. That's a billion with a B. That's enough money to fund an entire Marvel phase. But instead, it went into a Rachel Zegler-shaped hole of doom. And it all started with Spielberg's West Side Story in 2020, where she played Maria and somehow walked away with a Golden Globe. Sure, good for her, but right after that, she nuked her brand like she was speedrunning a PR crisis simulation.
Anyway, although I've seen lots of speculation that she's been blacklisted from Hollywood for the time being, Zegler is currently being considered for the role of Maria in the Sound of Music stage production, and I just have to wonder why on earth anyone hasn't learned anything from her previous experiences.
Now, usually in Hollywood, that's the setup for a redemption arc. You mess up, disappear for a while, come back humble, cry on Fallon, win back the crowd. But not Rachel. She decided she was too good for redemption. She wants the comeback without the character development, and nobody's buying it.
She's very good at alienating not only her viewers, but just viewers in general with everything that she says and every social media post she makes.
Now, let's talk about the one that really sealed the deal. Snow White. Disney should have just titled it Snow Hype and Zero Heart. This was her big shot. But what did she do? She tore down the 1937 classic like it was beneath her, called it evidently 1937 like that's some kind of insult. Girl, yes, it was made in 1937, that's the point. It's iconic, it's historic. But instead, she trashed it like she was roasting a failed student film.
About the very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office. You know what I'm talking about.
And then she really doubled down. She called the prince in the original a stalker, a literal stalker, like he's Joe from You, just because he sang in the woods. And then she brags that Andrew Burnap's scenes could be cut from the remake, laughing like it's all one big inside joke. It's Hollywood, baby, she says. Yeah, and you just played yourself. The cherry on top? The movie made about $50 per screen over Mother's Day weekend. 50. That's barely 2 overpriced sodas. Disney, in its delusion, tried to cover up the flop by announcing it was the #1 streaming film on Disney+. Convenient, right? No receipts, no numbers, just trust us, guys. It's doing great, we promise.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Meanwhile, fans felt like they were being spit on. First, she disrespects the source material. Then she mocks the love story. Then she basically suggests the male lead's role doesn't matter. And after all that, she expects people to still support her? Rachel, you can't slap the audience and then ask for applause. But nothing beats the absolute ego parade that is her public image. This woman actually compared herself to the winged victory of Samothrace. That's a sculpture in the Louvre, for those of you who skipped art history. A literal masterpiece, missing arms and all, and she thinks it's her spiritual twin. Like, seriously? You think you're a divine relic because people still line up to see you despite your flaws? Girl, people line up to see traffic accidents too. That doesn't mean you're the Mona Lisa.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash. Check this out from Wokeness. Disney's Snow White said that harm should befall Trump and his voters. Do not see this film.
And if that wasn't enough, she told her psychiatrist, yes, a trained medical professional, that every inch of her body inside and out deserves to be worshipped. Not appreciated, not respected, worshipped. Then she follows it up by saying, my compassion has no boundaries, except when someone else is on screen. Then that compassion clocks out faster than a part-time barista on minimum wage.
And Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for Evita is the only global solution.
She even flat out said, I'm a narcissist, like just casually, in an interview, as if that's a cute personality trait. Imagine saying that out loud and thinking it'll land as charming. No wonder studios are scared to hire her. She's not a risk. She's a walking HR violation with a ring light. And let's not forget the cheekbones. Yes, she actually said she manifested her cheekbones and dimples. Like she sat there with a vision board begging the universe for face bones instead of talent or, I don't know, basic humility. Who needs acting chops when you can just strike a pose and hope people forget your last movie bombed harder than Cats?
An iconic song, yes, but it's the balcony grabbing all the attention.
5 years in, 5 flops deep, a crowd of scammed theatergoers chanting refund, a Disney disaster in the rearview mirror, and a woman so delusional she compares herself to ancient art while delivering balcony karaoke to people who didn't pay a dime. Rachel Zegler somehow thinks that fans are disposable props, not the people paying for her career. Remember that Chili's bathroom story she proudly shared on Jimmy Kimmel? A fan innocently sings Maria to her as she's leaving the restroom, and instead of laughing it off or appreciating the support, she declares that it ruined her entire night. Really? Someone sings your own hit song to you, and your first instinct is to storm out like it's the end of the world? Who even admits that on national television? Most celebrities would kill to have fans who care enough to hum a single note, but Rachel acts like she was personally victimized by a show tune. I can just imagine the fan watching that interview, cringing and thinking, wow, I paid for this woman's movie ticket with my hard-earned cash, and she's out here calling me a nightmare for singing one line.
I think there will be people who are disappointed that she hasn't sung it live in the theatre, but I think it's going to be greatly outweighed by the theatricality of using film in that way.
Then she goes on and whines about having to pretend to love fans at the Snow White ride in Disneyland. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pretend. As if standing there and taking photos with people who actually care about your career is some form of cruel punishment. This isn't jury duty, Rachel. These are fans who spent their money on your movies, and the least you could do is fake a smile without acting like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. If being polite to the people who made you famous is too exhausting, maybe it's time to consider another profession. Because last time I checked, hating your audience isn't exactly the path to success.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
And it doesn't stop there. Outside the Palladium, while signing autographs, she's simultaneously lecturing people and campaigning for whatever trendy cause is currently buzzing on social media. It's like she can't just sign her name without turning it into a mini political rally. And the cherry on top? She ends it with a passive-aggressive, "That's enough now, I'm afraid." Oh yes, nothing screams gratitude like cutting off the very people who support you. It's the same tired pattern over and over again. Treat supporters like annoying background noise, then sit there puzzled when they don't show up at the box office.
Rachel Zegler, who is the new Snow White, and she's talking about Snow White being woke.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age, and there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And
speaking of alienating everyone, let's talk about how she decided to turn politics into her entire personality. In the 2024 election, she posted a TikTok saying, "Vote for Kamala Harris. It's non-negotiable. Don't like it? Unfollow. I don't need your business." Nothing says "please like me" like telling half of your potential audience to shove it. And then, when Trump won in 2024, she thought it would be smart to post "F Donald Trump" and "May Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace." You really can't make this up. And when the backlash started, she walked it all back like none of it ever happened. But the internet doesn't forget, Rachel. You might think you're untouchable, but those posts will haunt your career longer than Snow White haunts Disney's accountants.
For a very long time, it seems that nobody has quite captured the public's disdain like our girl, Rachel Zegler. The damage had been done.
As if that wasn't enough, she had to go and post about Free Palestine while promoting Snow White, which sent Disney and even Spielberg's camp into full panic mode. Disney likes their princesses squeaky clean, not dropping controversial political takes during a press tour. But does Rachel care? No, because in her latest June 2025 interview with ID magazine, she proudly declares that she tells the truth no matter the cost, and that there are worse things than her own downfall. Translation? Yes, I'm burning my career to the ground, but at least I'm doing it loudly. Self-awareness? None. Just martyrdom and a big dose of "look at me being brave."
What I mean by that is she has to say them. Rather than staying in her little skull, she has to spit them out into the world. In an interview published in late June 2025 with ID magazine, Zegler basically said that she views her platform as a responsibility to tell the truth.
And don't even get me started on her 2022 Oscars drama. She wasn't nominated. She was busy filming Snow White in London. Pandemic rules were still in play. So, what does she do? She takes to social media and moans about not being invited, like the Academy owes her a seat just for existing. The entitlement is mind-blowing. A 20-something newcomer demanding red carpet treatment because she starred in a Spielberg movie? Sorry, Rachel, that's not how this works.
She expressed on social media that she wasn't invited to the Oscars that year as the star of the Best Picture nominee West Side Story, a film that was interestingly distributed by Disney. The reason she wasn't invited appeared to revolve around the fact that this took place during the pandemic nonsense, and we know how Hollywood is.
But of course, after a Twitter pressure campaign from her fans, she gets in the door. Not as a nominee, but as a presenter. And what does she do on stage? She jokes about not being invited in the first place. If you think you're proving a point, you're not. You're just confirming exactly why people roll their eyes when they hear your name.
Growing up in Australia, I never thought that I would stand on this stage.
And I never thought that I would be here 6 days ago.
Hollywood studios are watching this circus unfold, and what do they see? Someone who is completely untrainable when it comes to media. She has zero filter, zero ability to stay out of her own way, and a 100% success rate at igniting cycles of backlash. It's like every interview, every post, every offhand comment is just another grenade tossed at her own career.
Question here is, why is Rachel Zegler's downfall so satisfying to so many people? It's not just about her talent, or lack thereof, depending on who you ask. It's about the fact that she has consistently and routinely, for years, rubbed people the wrong way with her comments.
And then there's the Evita heist. Because yes, it deserves its own category of disaster. Andrew Lloyd Webber's team decides it's a great idea to stage a balcony broadcast of Rachel singing, while the inside audience, the ones who actually paid, are stuck watching her on a screen. Imagine paying premium theater prices and then being treated like you're at a drive-in movie. Meanwhile, the freeloaders outside are getting a private live show, cheering her on like they hit the jackpot. The optics? A nightmare. Half-empty house, packed street, paying patrons reduced to background props while the outside crowd gets the star treatment.
I would imagine to some viewers. Rachel Zegler is still so young, she's 24, and many of the dumb comments that she made were when she was even younger. So there is a part of me that's like, okay, I mean, we're not talking about some 40-year-old person here. This is a fetus. We are discussing a fetus.
People were furious. Refund demands started flying, and accusations of a shameless bait and switch flooded social media. And who takes the heat? Rachel, of course. Because even though this genius stunt wasn't entirely her idea, her name is on the marquee and she's the face of the disaster. Then she has the audacity to cry on stage after a standing ovation. Critics call it fake and performative, defenders call it human, but either way, she loses. Why? Because when your reputation is already circling the drain, every tear looks like a PR move.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Rachel Zegler has this incredible talent for turning even neutral situations into disasters. Chili's fan encounter? Disaster. Disneyland photo ops? Disaster. Talking politics on TikTok? Mega disaster. And when she steps on stage, instead of focusing on delivering a solid performance, it's balcony drama, streaming screens, and a bunch of paying customers left wondering if they just got conned.
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
You heard that right. Zegler not only believes that she's a priceless work of art, she thinks she's sacred, and she doesn't just shout that into the mirror.
What really blows my mind is how consistent she is at alienating everyone. Fans feel dismissed, studios feel nervous, co-stars probably don't know whether to clap or hide when she speaks. And yet, Rachel just keeps plowing forward like none of it matters, like the world is wrong, and she's the misunderstood genius. No, Rachel, the world isn't wrong. People are just tired of being treated like ATMs with no feelings.
Her life is so bad.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion.
Rachel Zegler loves to talk about how she's all about light and positivity, but if late June 2025's ID interview taught us anything, it's that her version of positivity looks like a scorched earth PR strategy. She claims she's duty-bound to speak out politically, as if the world is just waiting for her next brilliant hot take. Really, Rachel? The same girl who shouted "never know peace" at Trump supporters is now pretending she's some ambassador of light. That's not light, that's a flamethrower. And when she says there are worse things than her own downfall, she's not wrong. But studios hate this type of unpredictability. No studio exec is going to gamble millions of dollars on someone who treats interviews like a therapy session with zero self-awareness.
That comes from her interviews and social media posts, like when she complained about not getting an invite to the Oscars in 2022, even though she was filming for Snow White and she wasn't even nominated.
The internet has receipts, and they've kept them organized like a fan-run museum dedicated to her missteps. F Trump, stalker Prince, bragging about cutting Andrew Burnap's scenes, and now this fake spiritual awakening? Fans aren't buying the positive energy narrative. It doesn't sound like enlightenment, it sounds like ego insulation. Platform responsibility is just code for, I can say whatever I want, and you're the problem if you don't like it. Sorry, but when your version of truth-telling comes with a side order of alienating every demographic that might watch your movie, it's not activism. It's career suicide dressed up in Instagram captions.
Anyway, in one clip, she calls the Sharks, the rival gang of the Jets in this new version of West Side Story, a rainbow of the Latino community, and then struggles to name what constitutes Latino diversity.
And while she's busy playing the misunderstood truth teller, the next big Hollywood rumor hits. Rachel Zegler is circling Maria in a new production of The Sound of Music, because apparently no one in casting learned a single thing from Snow White or the Evita balcony disaster. It's like watching a car crash on repeat. Only this time, the car is wearing lederhosen and singing "Do Re Mi." The internet's reaction is pure disbelief. Didn't we just see this movie? People are already making comparison reels between Julie Andrews and Rachel's awkward stage tremors. The comparisons are brutal. Julie Andrews radiates class, charm, and talent. Rachel radiates the energy of someone who thinks applause is her birthright.
When he expresses extremely progressive views. Of course, having your own ideas and beliefs is perfectly fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But, you know, maybe using your actress movie platform as a soapbox is not the best idea. But when you're promoting a family-friendly movie, like one with Disney, and you're dropping things like F Donald Trump and attacking Trump supporters and...
Of course, some diehard fans will still clap. There are always 20 random bobbleheads in every crowd who will cheer for anything, even if the performance is as flat as week-old soda. But the truth is, casting Rachel now isn't reimagining a classic. It's reimagining reality itself. No one is going to buy her as a beloved Maria after watching her publicly trash the very idea of classic stories. It's like hiring someone who hates ice cream to open a Baskin Robbins. It just doesn't work.
Just thinking out loud. Acting like people supporting you is a chore is probably not a good look. Like, even if you think this, maybe don't admit to it publicly. Just keep those opinions to yourself.
Speaking of disasters, let's revisit Disney's gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss strategy that backfired so hard it might become a case study in film schools. Disney owns the platform. Disney ranks its own films. Disney declares Snow White a streaming smash without offering a single shred of evidence. It's like saying, "Trust me, my cooking is amazing," while refusing to let anyone taste it. And audiences, they're not dumb. They're rolling their eyes and saying, "Sure, and while you're at it, have some wood milk," referencing Aubrey Plaza's parody ad that makes about as much sense as Disney's fake success stories. But Rachel doesn't care about audience trust. She doesn't crave forgiveness or connection with fans. What she craves is studio validation. She wants the suits, the ones who put her face on billboards and greenlight her projects, to pat her on the head and tell her she's revolutionary. And the result? Studios are getting scorched right alongside her. Fans stay salty, the media keeps dragging her, and instead of learning from any of it, Rachel doubles down. Every interview, every TikTok, every political rant is just another shovel digging the hole deeper.
It's like she's been sowing the seeds of her own downfall one interview at a time.
And here's the thing. Watching it all unfold is strangely satisfying, because every single time it looks like maybe, just maybe, She's going to turn things around. She opens her mouth and burns it all down again. It's like watching someone light their own house on fire and then complain about the smoke. She spits on source material, mocks fans, politicizes family-friendly films, and then has the nerve to crown herself a martyr when people boo. The audacity is impressive in a can't-look-away kind of way.
But she seems to think, at least in the way that she behaves, that she's entitled to the fame she has. Instead of being grateful for her audience and wanting to show appreciation for the opportunity so few people get, she turns around and wags her finger at them through socio-political preaching.
Hollywood, as we all know, loves a redemption arc. But humility is the price of admission, and Rachel has manifested everything: cheekbones, dimples, balcony drama, except humility. She doesn't even seem to realize that every time she goes off script, she's confirming the critics' worst accusations about her. She's not the misunderstood genius she wants to be. She's the cautionary tale everyone else is learning from. What's really wild is how she still carries herself like Hollywood owes her something. As if those 5 years of chaos, 5 flops, and 50+ bad takes are just minor hiccups on the road to superstardom. Studios aren't lining up to fund her redemption story because they've seen what happens when she gets a microphone. It's not just about talent anymore, it's about trust. And Rachel has burned through that faster than Snow White burned through Disney's marketing budget.
Just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean?
Now, she's banking on the Sound of Music to be her big reset button, but let's be real, no one's convinced. Every time someone mentions her taking on Maria, you can practically hear Julie Andrews somewhere sighing in disappointment. The hills may be alive with music, but if Rachel's at the center, those hills might just go silent out of protest. Disney's spin machine can try all it wants to polish her image, but the audience isn't buying it anymore. When the official narrative screams hit, while the numbers scream flop, people tune out. And when Rachel tries to double down with more political rants and self-congratulation, it just pushes people further away. It's not charisma, it's chaos. Every time she steps on a stage, opens her mouth in an interview, or hops on social media, it's like watching someone set fire to whatever goodwill they had left. And while Hollywood waits for her to grow up and figure it out, fans are enjoying the spectacle. Because in a world of fake PR smiles and perfectly scripted apologies, Rachel Zegler's downfall is unfiltered, unpredictable, and weirdly entertaining. And that's a wrap. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more powerful insights coming your way.